7:40, and we have new information this morning about Donald Trump. A young model coming forward, taking on a company owned by the presidential candidate. She claims she was promised she would make big bucks working for Trump's modeling agency, but that was not the case. ABC's Brian Ross is here with the story. Good morning, Brian.
Well, good morning, Laura. As a candidate, Donald Trump has called for an end to abuse in a U.S. visa program that brings in specialized and seasonal foreign workers, criticizing its use by others, including the ABC parent company, Walt Disney. But it is the very program Trump has repeated his own business ventures, including one that is less known but quite glamorous.
I believe in you.
In a video for this year's Sports Illustrated swimsuit contest, model Mia King is running a very provocative campaign for votes. Much like the man who owns the modeling agency that represents her, Donald Trump. It's not well known, but his vast business empire includes a modeling agency. Trump Model Management is not considered one of the top 10 agencies, but some of his models have hit it big, including his wife Melania, who, while dating him, posed on Trump's private jet for a British magazine. And as seen on this MTV reality show, Trump has been personally involved in recruiting talent.
You just signed with a model agency today, which is great.
But it hasn't worked out well for everyone. Alexia Palmer was recruited from Jamaica and brought to the U.S. by the Trump agency under a special H-1B visa program for foreign workers. In government documents filed by the Trump agency, it said Palmer would make at least $75,000 a year for 3 years as a full-time employee. And did that seem like a lot of money to you?
Yes.
But she got nothing close to that from the more than 21 shoots, including this campaign for Iman Cosmetics. According to a lawsuit she's now filed, the Trump agency deducted some 80% of her earnings as fees and expenses, leaving her with a total for 3 years of only $3,880, plus some modest cash advances. And under her visa status, she could not work anywhere else.
I feel like I was a slave or something.
A slave?
A slave, because that's what slavery people do. Just work and work and work and don't get no money.
The Trump agency says it had a hard time finding work for Palmer, and that the $75,000 a year on the form was just an estimate. Trump General Counsel Alan Garten.
There was no employer-employee relationship.
Except you checked the box that said full-time employee.
Well, because that's what the form requires. Otherwise,
but it wasn't true.
This is how it's done in the industry.
But a former senior U.S. immigration official says companies don't have the option of ignoring the wage figures they cite in a U.S. visa form, like the $75,000.
It would be extraordinarily unusual for that to be legal.
The Trump agency has brought more than 100 young models to the U.S. under the H-1B visa program, the very program Trump, as a candidate, has criticized others for using as a cheap labor program. So 22-year-old Alexia is going to take on Donald Trump.
Yes, and I know I'm going to win because this is very unfair.
Alexia Palmer says there are other Trump models like her, but they're afraid to come forward to take him on, in part because once they leave the Trump agency, their H-1B visas expire, and if they stay in the U.S., they are subject to deportation.